Hey guys, welcome to the channel and another video. Today I'm going to be watching The Fugitive by Andrew Davis. I'm not very familiar with Davis's work as I've only seen two of his other films, Under Siege and Chain Reaction. Under Siege to me is the only good Steven Seagal movie, and Chain Reaction was pretty mediocre despite starring Keanu Reeves and Morgan Freeman. I believe I've also seen Collateral Damage starring Arnold Schwarzenegger, but for the life of me, I can't remember anything about it. About The Fugitive though, I know it stars Harrison Ford and Tommy Lee Jones. Neither needs an introduction really. It's one of my father's favorite films. And as a matter of fact, growing up, I think I may have caught a few glimpses here and there while he was watching it. I believe Ford's character is falsely accused of a crime and he goes on the run, and that's where we get the title, The Fugitive. That's all I know about it though. But before we get into it, to help support the channel, I have a Patreon page for full-length reactions, early access, and weekly polls for what to watch next. You'll need your own copy to watch along, of course. Please consider being a patron, please subscribe to the channel, do check out my other videos, and like if you liked this video, dislike it if you didn't. With all that being said, let's get started. The Fugitive, Davis, Ford, Jones, let's go! Even though the film came out in the early 90s, there's a very 80s inspired intro here. Joe Pantoliano. I think I may recognize that actor. Did he play Cypher in The Matrix? Or was he the head of police in Bad Boys? I mixed those actors up. It's one of them. Ooh, I completely am missing the fact that they're showing us a crime happening. Sela Ward's character gets shot, and it's set in Chicago. I assume it's his wife. Music by James Newton Howard. You know the soundtrack's going to be good.
They are going to be taking him to a police station. Tales, as I indicate, are very sketchy. We do know this, that he and his wife, Helen...
Okay, so this is the central conflict. Him being falsely accused of murdering his wife.
Richard Kimball. How are you?
Thank you. I was just down to my last joke.
So they have a very high social status.
He had a cosmetic hand. You saying that I crushed her skull and that I shot her?
When I came home, there was a man in my house. I fought with this man. He had a mechanical arm.
I really like his watch. It's a Cartier tank, if I'm not mistaken.
And brutally murder his wife.
He's trying to kill me. Richard, he's trying to kill me.
Oh man. It really sounds like she was naming her husband, but she was actually calling for him and talking to him.
May God have mercy on your soul.
I really like the editing of the opening sequences because Davis is showing us a lot of exposition, but cutting it so smartly that he doesn't have to spend too much time on it. Oh, it's based on a book. The music, again, very 80s. Oh no. I think the driver may have gotten shot. That's like 8 or 10 barrel rolls. Holy crap.
You doctor, do something! Unlock me!
Oh!
Oh, shit!
They're on a train track. That was excellent stunt work. Oh man, there was no CGI involved there, for sure. Big fan of these explosions. And they actually got train carriages and wrecked them. Awesome.
Which way you go? Just don't follow me. You got that?
Well, I guess he has to run because it's not like he'll get out once they catch him. He is definitely the guy from Bad Boys. And Tommy Lee Jones has such a unique accent.
Somehow I grabbed him and pushed him out of the bus.
Taking credit.
Oh, wait a minute. The prisoners are all dead.
Oh, wow, gee whiz, look here. Where are those keys at?
He might have got out.
Nothing extraordinary in the cinematography front so far. The music is very decent. Even though it's pretty typical, it goes with the film. I'm smiling because of the music. It's very typical late 80s.
Get the ambulance down here. Come on.
He's at a hospital? Oh right, he was injured after all. And he's a doctor. He instantly looks 5 years younger after cutting off the beard. He's out. And I've seen this actress before as well. I just don't remember where.
The wounded guard swears he saw Kimball right outside the emergency room.
Well, that's odd.
And an ambulance is missing.
Where the hell's he going in an ambulance?
I think Tommy Lee Jones might have a smaller role in the film than I expected, but Davis is using him pretty well. It's a pretty big movie. It's not shot in small sets. They're actually using locations, they're getting cars. The only way out I see is from some sort of service tunnel.
What do you got?
It's not even a service tunnel, he just went down the sewer.
We got a gopher.
That's one way to put it. It's their first confrontation.
I didn't kill my wife. I don't care.
Smart answer. He's just here to catch him. That's his job.
Hands up! You want to get shot?
That was a really good shot when he turned back. Harrison Ford's performance is very good as well. Wow. And I don't think that was a stuntman, that was just a dummy.
You guys got a search and rescue team in this county.
And he survived. Even though it's like very unrealistic, that jump and survival, Ford's performance is really selling it, honestly. You can see the struggle and pain on his face. Tommy Lee Jones' character, Gerard, doesn't have too many lines. He gives orders and directives and then he just observes what happens. The editing and music till now have been really good. Oh, we finally get to see the one-armed man. Judging from two other films I've watched by Andrew Davis, and this one so far, I don't think the cinematography or very creative visuals are part of his style. I'm not saying it's good or bad, it's an observation I'm making. I think he focuses more on the storytelling and the editing.
All right, have somebody sit on the car, tell the police that nobody moves till we get there. We'll go first thing in the morning. Your cousin still got his truck.
And unlike the previous couple of films I've watched, this one in comparison isn't hard to follow at all. It's a pretty straightforward narrative.
Come on! I got you, man!
That's a death sentence for him.
I just want a car, man!
Oh! What a scene. That was excellently shot.
Richard, Jesus. Why did you run? Running only makes you look guilty.
I'm not going to turn myself in. I need help. I need money.
Richard.
Oh, it's his lawyer. I just got that.
That bell is the bell on the Wells Street Bridge. It's 6 blocks away.
I knew that was an elevated train.
Oh my God, Richard!
How are you, Charlie?
Jesus, you're back.
I need some money.
How can I help you?
I'll call you.
Probably an old friend.
So, why did Richard Kimball kill his wife?
He did it for the money.
What do you mean he did it for the money? He's a doctor. He's already rich.
And here is the room. You can look at.
So he's taking a temporary room somewhere. He's heading over to another hospital. That's very dangerous considering he's the most wanted man in Illinois right now. The prosthetics department. Very smart. I didn't realize why he came here, but it's obvious now. He wants to know where the one-armed man got his prosthetic from.
So you guys went to medical school together?
I saw Richard this morning. Richard is innocent.
He's a true friend.
You'll never find him. He's too smart.
And it's a different kind of montage and montage music, but it's essentially what it is.
If he came to me, I would help him.
I think I recognize that actress too. Okay, we finally get to see a clear image of him.
You like stringing out 12-year-old girls, huh?
What? They didn't even come for him.
Start in here, huh?
Okay.
You mean to tell me that this is the guy staying in your mother's basement?
That's what I'm telling you.
You bring this kid down to observation room 2?
What's your name?
For a second there, I thought Julianne Moore's character would follow him into the elevator, but he didn't. She didn't. He's changing the diagnosis to the right one. And the music reflects that. When he's helping people, it's not synth or it's more bass piano to tug at our heartstrings.
Who changed those orders? You stand right there.
How's the boy doing?
You saved his life.
The water is unusually green. Oh, it's probably St. Patty's Day. There are so many scenes here that he could get recognized. And I feel like Andrew Davis is walking a very thin line between plausible and unrealistic.
Who the hell are you?
Look, I'm sorry, I made a mistake.
It's the wrong guy. And one of the security guards probably recognizes him. I love the fact that almost all of the film is using actual locations. What was the point of the third volley of bullets? It's not gonna penetrate, but he's a really good marksman. I think a lot of scenes in this film are a little unnecessary, but the storytelling, the editing, that's all there. See another establishing shot, which is probably not the best choice. Hey! We've seen the guy on the right before. He was the killer. Okay, this means that we are finally in the last act of the film. Is that somebody we're supposed to recognize? Because I don't think I've seen him before. Oh, it's a flashback back to the party.
I think you said something like, you didn't kill your wife.
Remember what you told me?
That he doesn't care.
I don't care.
5 seconds location.
And I just found a big piece.
He's intentionally giving them the location.
Frederick Sykes.
Frederick Sykes. We finally get a name.
Richard Kimball made a telephone call from this apartment.
Well, hell yes, I have a prosthetic arm. I must have murdered his wife, right?
How'd you lose that arm?
In the line of duty.
Who are they? It was Lance. Richard, Lance is dead. What?
I don't know about this guy. I thought he was a good friend defending Kimball, but his facial expressions, they're just not believable.
I've never seen that person in my life before.
Ford's performance has been solid, but I don't think any of the performances in the film are Oscar-worthy or anything. They're very, very solid though.
$1 billion net sales last year alone.
So it's all about the pharmaceuticals and
The company's a monster.
the sales of pharmaceuticals.
Thanks, Bones.
Sykes is out of there.
Richard. Oh, what are you doing here?
I know this actress as well, and I know her name, but it's at the tip of my tongue. I just can't remember. She's in Glee and a bunch of other films.
Clearly not the same tissue. They all came from the same liver.
Oh man, that's fraud.
If he knew or ever had any contact with a Dr. Richard Kimball.
I haven't seen Dr. Kimball.
He's such a good guy. So many people are willing to cover for him.
You think Lenz is the bad guy?
Yeah, why not?
Half of the samples he approved were signed the day he died.
He was murdered.
Where are you going?
See a friend.
Nichols also knew Lentz.
Whoa.
Oh no.
Kimball called Sykes.
What does that mean though? Kimball called Sykes?
And Sykes is gone. He's nowhere to be found.
Oh no, Sykes is here. That was a surprise. I didn't expect them to meet on the train.
Kimball!
I mean, a couple of these scenes could be cut. I'm not saying not to include them. I'm saying Davis is holding the camera a little too long on these shots.
Suspect entering Hilton Tower Mall.
Oh, no.
It was Nichols after all. He just has a very punchable face, even when he's trying to be sincere. All credit to the actor.
The truck's name is Provazic.
He's so screwed now.
You almost got away with it, didn't you? I know all about it. I can prove it.
Richard, do you mind to step aside and let's talk?
You switched the samples after Lentz died.
I thought he'd be more exposed in front of everyone, but they're taking a different approach, and I kind of like it because the former approach would have been too stereotypical. Yes. Again, the storytelling is pretty good, but the cinematography is pretty substandard. No creative transitions, no fancy camera work, framing. It's all about the storytelling and the editing, which is excellent, but I feel like a couple of scenes could have been cut.
Put your hands in the air.
They are going to fall through. There is no endgame for Nichols. Chicago is a very gloomy city in the winter, and most of the film was graded to have a very bluish tint to it, except now.
Dr. Richard Kimball! There's no way out of here, Richard! I know about Dr. Charles Nichols!
Oh no.
He telephoned Sykes from your car, Richard!
Oh! The practical effect there wasn't as convincing, but just imagining what that would do to your head.
Give it up! It's time to stop running!
Oh. He's finally going to give himself up. Yeah, there you go.
They killed my wife.
I know it, Richard.
You know I'm glad. I need the rest.
Tell Samuel Gerard I'm going home now. I'm taking my vacation.
Thought you didn't care. I don't. Don't tell anybody, okay?
That was a good line. And a solid end to the film. That was a good movie. Okay, so I took some time to collect my thoughts. That was a solid thriller film with some elements of action. Andrew Davis did a good job with the storytelling and atmosphere. All the performances were pretty solid too. Since this was a pretty straightforward film, story-wise, I'm not going to go in depth about the plot of this one. Instead, I'm going to be focusing more on the director's style, editing, music, and the performances. Starting off with the directing by Davis, which was, as I mentioned before, generally good. His strengths were in the actual storytelling, the editing process, and the selection of music. I feel like his weaknesses were his cinematography, which was average, the camera framing, holding shots longer than they were actually necessary, and the overuse of establishing shots, which show a heavy reliance on his second unit. Davis kept the plot moving forward at a breakneck pace. He shot both the chase sequences in the film excellently. I feel like the ending was a bit convoluted and had me confused for a second while I caught up to it, but it was cleared soon enough, so there are no complaints here. The setup of the movie was simple enough, with Ford's character Kimball being wrongly accused of murdering his wife. Both Ford and Jones were solid in their performances, which we'll talk about later. The editing in the film was the highlight for me. The intro sequence with the exposition was cut very well, and I feel like the director convincingly conveyed what he wanted to show the audience without taking too long. Having considered this, like I mentioned before, some of the shots, like the establishing ones and the ones where he's out in the open and trying to blend in, were held too long in my opinion. I believe that almost 10 or 15 minutes of the film could have been cut and it wouldn't have had any significant impact on anything at all. Reducing the runtime by 10 or 15 minutes might have helped in ramping up the tension further and tightening the overall story. The music in the film was by James Newton Howard, one of the best in the business. He did the score for so many films, too many to mention here, but just know that I'm extremely familiar with his work. He used very late 80s synth music to keep the story flowing. He often contrasted this with simple piano pieces where the director wanted us to feel empathy and compassion for Ford's character. Excellent soundtrack overall. Harrison Ford played the protagonist of the film, Dr. Richard Kimball. His performance was really good overall. I didn't expect anything less from Ford though. Kimball was shown to be a very empathetic man, repeatedly helping out others at the risk of his own safety, like the prison transportation officer or the kid at the hospital. His character development went from a broken man who failed to stop his wife's murder to being a resolved man with a mission to find the killer was wonderfully shown. By the end, after he convinces Gerard of his innocence, he finally gives himself up. Speaking of Marshall Gerard, he was played by the great Tommy Lee Jones. Jones is great in every role he plays. He has a commanding screen presence, and his unique accent and dialect really captures the attention of the audience. His character development was also very well done in this film. He goes from a very stoic, unsympathetic, but honorable Marshal to someone who cared at the end. Unlike what he stated earlier to Kimball, that he doesn't care whether he killed or didn't kill his wife. That line alone gave a lot of exposition on his character and showed that he was just doing his job, but he's also more than that. Andreas Katsoulas and Jeroen Krabbe, I'm not sure how to pronounce his name, please correct me if I'm wrong, played Sykes and Dr. Nichols, the two antagonists of the film. Both had relatively small roles in the film despite being the main motivation for the antagonist. Both their performances were pretty decent though. Sykes, who was quickly apprehended after being shown, was a misdirection by the director to show us the actual mastermind of the killing, Dr. Nichols. Nichols had a very punchable face, in my opinion. Although I was suspicious of him from the beginning, something about his performance really threw me off. Full credits to the actor here. He really pulled off playing a two-faced scumbag. About the criticisms of the film, I've already mentioned them before, like the cinematography, the framing, and holding shots for longer than necessary. That's about it. Apart from that, I feel like this film still holds up well after 27 years. It's not a film like Die Hard, which I'll be rewatching every year, but it's still a very good film, and I can see why my dad loves it so much. Anyways, thank you for watching. I have a Patreon page. Consider being a patron. Subscribe to the channel. Like if you liked this video. Dislike it if you didn't. I will see you in the next one. Bye.